So I wanted to make this video. Um, I'll try to make it quick for anyone who is struggling with what I struggled with at least significantly twice in my life. And that is identity crisis. First things first, I want to tell you is that you need to understand that this is not unique to you, right? Out of 8 billion people in the world, 8 billion of us, at least significantly 2 or 3 times in our life, each and every person has gone through a season of identity crisis. It happens at least, I would say, once every 5 years. So it's not something that is unique to you. So don't put yourself down, don't beat yourself down because you're going through a period of having an identity crisis. Everybody goes through it at least once or twice in their life. Now, I went through it, as I said before, at least twice, and thankfully I was able to overcome it. But the first thing that I did, and the first thing that I learned, and I'm just going to share what has worked for me. The first thing you need to do is you need to accept yourself. You need to accept yourself. You need to embrace yourself, including this period of going through an identity crisis. Accept it. Accept your past, your present. Accept the mistakes, accept the struggles. It's all part of the game. Accept yourself. Accept yourself and love yourself. They say love is patient and love is kind. If you don't love yourself, you will never be patient with yourself, even in this period. You will never be kind to yourself. You'd say mean and nasty things to yourself. So, first of all, accept yourself for who you are and what you are. Totally. No judgment. Accept yourself. But after you accept yourself, you need to understand that they call it an identity crisis, but understand that you already have an identity. You're already a soul. It's an identity crisis because your identity has crisis with societal expectations of you, with societal labels, with the expectations your parents have of you, your boss has of you, your spouse has of you, expectations that you have of yourself. But you already have an identity. Think about children. Children already have an identity and they're comfortable, they're fine in it. It is when we become adults that we become adulterated with expectations. So an identity crisis, if you will, is a call to your true self. Your true self, your core self is calling you to free yourself, to be your authentic self. Because society will tell a woman of 30 that at this point you're supposed to be married, have children, or a man of 40, or your life you should have paid off your mortgage and done this and be financially free. Your parents have their own expectations. Your people have expectations of you. So a period of identity crisis, your identity saying that, listen, it's time for us to talk. Are you going to live free or are you going to live by these labels? Because trust me, there are lots of people working in jobs that are of their parents' doing. There are people that are in marriages because two of you look good together. There are a lot of people that are living lives that are not of their own accord. And your true soul, your identity is saying that, listen, it's either we're going to live free or we're going to live in bondage. So you find out that it is not really a crisis per se. It is you just getting to measure your life and say, am I going to live free or am I going to go by the dictates of society? And the second thing you need to do, second or third thing, I've missed my numbering, is you need to write down what your core values are. It's a time of deep self-reflection. Really sit down and write down, what are my core values? What are the things that brings me joy? What are the things that brings me fulfillment? Think about your life. Think about the moments of your greatest fulfillment, your greatest happiness, your greatest joy. What were you doing? Most times you find that at times where we had our greatest joy, we're just being out. Maybe you were just taking a walk at the beach. You're just being with yourself. So write down those things that brings you joy. What are those aspects of your life, things that you do that brings you happiness, that brings you fulfillment? Write them down. Then the fourth thing I want to say is align yourself with those core values. Maybe it's integrity, joy, creativity, whatever it is. Find ways to align your true self to those passions, to that creativity, to that activity, whatever it is. Find ways to align yourself to it. Find, I won't say jobs, but find activities that brings in your creativity, your passion, your joy, all those things. Find ways to express it. But at the end of the day, realize that the activity is not you, because you are already a person. You are already a full, complete soul. The identity crisis, I want you never to forget this, is your identity clashing with societal expectations. So it's a time where you have to say, am I going to live by your rules, or am I going to live free? So write down everything that brings you joy, what brings you fulfillment, then align yourself to it. This is what I did, and it's really set me free. So all I do is tweak, 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 but I keep still going. Then one thing that is very, very important, and I have to say this, is you have to learn to silence the inner critic in your head, because we say a lot of nasty and mean things to ourselves. If what the voice in your head says things that you cannot say to someone that you love, then why say it to yourself? If the voice in your head says things to you that you won't say to your child, then why do you say it to yourself? You're somebody's child. You're God's child. You're somebody's child. If you won't say it to a child, why say it to yourself? And we say all manner of mean, nasty things to ourselves. It's amazing. So listen to that inner critic, which is one thing that I did. And by the time you align yourself to your values, align yourself to your core values, and begin to act on that, you'll find that it begins to decrease the intensity of the voice of the inner critic. Why? Because you're living in freedom, you're living in your true self. You're being you, you embrace you, you live free. You have just one life to live. You can't live somebody else's life. You have to live your life. So again, accept yourself. Love yourself. Love is patient and kind. If you don't love yourself, you will never be patient and kind with yourself through this process. Two, realize that you already have an identity. Ever since you were born, you're a soul, you're full and complete. It is only a crisis because you're measuring your soul with the expectations of the world. And I'm not saying identity crisis can't force you to grow. Of course you can grow. Of course you should accept, that there are changes in life. But every change will still bring that question of, who are you? Is this who I am? Does this reflect who I am? And if it doesn't, then let it go. And if it does, accept it. Do you understand? Write down the thing that brings you joy, then align yourself with it. Align yourself with it. Always align yourself with it. Then silence that inner critic by doing the things that align with who you are. You have one life to live. You can't spend your life living somebody else's life. Think about it. I In my extended family, I at least know two or three people that are married to people not of their choosing. It's crazy. But because you look good together and you're living someone else's expectation. People are working jobs that or doing businesses or in something doing something that it doesn't align with who they are because mother says so, or father says so, or society says so, or it pays you much more money. What will it profit you if you gain all the money and lose your soul, your soul, your soul? There's no point. Maybe I'll do another video that is more detailed. I just wanted to do this before I dash out. So take care. God bless. Live free.